On y va? Hello guys, here is John Trial and welcome in the third hike review of the season 1. I hope you are going well and you are ready because this video is gonna be special. Two things. One, we leave the Triglav National Park and we go some dozen of kilometers in the northern part of Slovenia to place our focus on the Kamnik Alps. Two, we are gonna eat two big pieces of cakes which are nothing less than the tops of the Kamnik Alps, the GRINTOVEC and the JEZERKA Kocna. The twin tops culminate at more than 2,500 meters and they are respectively the 8th and the 9th highest tops of Slovenia. It is not gonna be a quiet walk, but as you are super motivated, I'm sure it's gonna be fun. Then let's open the maps. We start with a topographic map to see where are the Kamnik Alps, as it is our first hike in this mountain range. The Kamnik Alps is a rather small group of mountains which is located in the southeast of the Alps. The name Kamnik comes from the city with the same name, Kamnik, which is placed in the Kamnik Alps just before, let's say, the big mountains of this mountain range. The Kamnik Alps are of course surrounded by other mountain ranges, so if we start by the north and do a turn clockwise, you will find first in the northwest the Karavanke, making the border with the Austria. Then in the northeast you have the Pohorje. You draw a straight line to the Sava river on the south, then coming back to the east you will find the Pohorj Gradec Dolomites, and then going back to the Sava valley you will have the Julian Alps, and finally back to the Karavanke. Our two mountains, the GRINTOVEC and the JEZERKA Kocna, are located in the middle of the Kamnik Alps and they belong to a quite long range of limestone mountains. Let's see now how you get to the parking. Coming from the city of Kran, you will drive around 30 minutes to Triglav-Jezerka. Staying in the main street, you will need to turn just after the church on the right side and follow the road for about 800 meters to the parking. It might be a bit difficult to find, so I recommend you to check in the description where you have the link to FatMap where you can easily display the parking location. Last point, don't worry for accommodation and food. Triglav-Jezerka is a small town where you will find everything you need. I hope you find the parking and it's now time for the hike. For this review, I present you the black variant, which is the one I've done during the last summer. So if you find the parking, you should in principle have such a view here. You see I had a very sunny day, I was very lucky that day. And you see the little Peugeot is actually my car. This is where I parked, so this is the parking for free, there is no fees here. And on the top, you see on the right hand side, this is the JEZERKA Kocna. And on the left, completely at the extremity of the edge of the mountain range, you have the Vratka, which will be the top of the blue variant. Let's leave the car and start the hike on a large route crossing several properties and fields until reaching the forest. Then the path will be a bit steep until the edge of the mountain for an horizontal section going to the rocky part. So here it's a really perfect place for running. Then you will reach the Czechka Kocna, where you can basically start for a night or get some food. Take into account that in summer it's a rather crowded place. From the Czechka Kocna you will have this beautiful view on the Vratka and you will be just below the big limestone cliffs which are absolutely impressive. Then you will have to continue on the left side, don't go right, otherwise you go to Vratka, until you reach the fork where it's time for equipping yourself with your harness, lanyard and helmet. It's very important, again, that you are very well protected because you can have a lot of rolling stone falling on your head. Here it's to give you an idea how it looks like and what you will cross to the top. You see, I wear the helmet. Then you continue on the left side and you will cross like really impressive cliffs and you will have a cable section, so that's why you need your equipment as well. You start now the part of the hike which is the most difficult and you will have a bit of exposure as you can see now on the video. It looks a bit like stairs going through the cliff, but it's rather easy if you have a good physical condition. You will then reach the Mlinarsko Sedlo and this is basically the end of the difficult part. From there, you will have a wonderful view on the Veliki Podi, which is a limestone plateau on the other side. And here on the left you can see the Stuka, which are the other mountains we will maybe do one day. Following the cable here, you have no particular difficulties anymore, and you have the GRINTOVEC at the end of this line. You will follow then the line until reaching the first stop. Well done, we are on the GRINTOVEC on our first stop, but don't forget we have a second one waiting for us. You will take the path on the left side, and here you can see how beautiful looks the edge when you will follow until GRINTOVEC Kocna, which is on the other side down there. On this section and until you go down on the right side, you should have a cable on the most exposed part. However, going to the GRINTOVEC Kocna, there is a part of the path which I think is quite dangerous. It's a bit narrow and quite exposed. It might be quite slippery as well if it's raining, and there is no cable to secure you. This section is illustrated here. So on the left you see there is a kind of path crossing the cliff. From the GRINTOVEC you see at the horizontal line, and from the GRINTOVEC Kocna here you will need to go in between these big stones. So you need really to be and it was like 2 or 3 meters where I had to crawl face down, so it was quite funny. So crossing all this edge and section, you will reach the other side, hopefully safe, and here you can see how it looked like the GRINTOVEC Kocna with the wonderful reddish color. We finally reached the GRINTOVEC Kocna after about 6 hours of hike, and now you can enjoy some nice views. On the left side you see the GRINTOVEC and the nice view on the valley here. And just on the other side, quite interesting, this is the Kocna, which is 20 meters lower. So here's a beautiful view on the other side, and it was less cloudy here. Yeah, very relaxing, right? Yeah, and this is my shadow saying you hello. Okay, it's time to go back to the parking, crossing again the difficult section and taking the path on the left side through the cliff until you reach the little stones and where you can run. Look at this. That sounds good, right? Straight down. So now you close the loop and I put the accelerate view to the parking because you will basically take the same path until you are back to your car. Wonderful. The black tour is over and now it's time for the variants. The blue variant with 2 stars start from a different parking. To find this location, I invite you to check the description of the video where I place a link to FatMap. The blue variant is a nice loop of 3 hours crossing the forest to the Czeszka Koka, where you might drink a nice Laszko beer. This is a perfect tour for trail running. The red variant starts from the same location, but you will take a steeper and longer path to reach the Czeszka Koka, and you will continue working for the bonus little top of Wratka, from which you will get an awesome view on the mountains around and on the valley. On the black variant, not much more to say, as I have already presented it to you in details. You will climb the north face of the GRINTOVEC and of the GRINTOVEC Kocna. And for once, to make the black team happy, a second black variant where I propose you to climb the GRINTOVEC and GRINTOVEC Kocna from the south face. It will be several sections with a cable, so security gear mandatory, and I recommend you to start on the left side by the GRINTOVEC Kocna, then going to the GRINTOVEC, and on your way back to the parking you can stop to the Czeszka Koka where you can have a fresh drink. If you want to study more of these variants, go in the description of the video where I place a link to FatMap for each of these variants. And our hike review in the Kamnik Alps is over. I hope now you have the GRINTOVEC and the GRINTOVEC Kocna and the hike to-do list, and I see you next week for a new hike in the Triglav National Park. Ciao! The name Kamnik comes from the name Kamnik. Ça paraît logique. On the black variant, not much more to say as I have already in present.